All right. She just there she is. Oh my God. It's a vision. All right, everybody. Good to see you. Happy Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's coming up. I saw some posts of you and your fantastic husband. Were you guys in Miami? Is that where you're at?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Nice. Are
Yeah,
you there?
North
Are you there
Miami.
now? Are you back now or are you still in Miami?
Still here
Oh, okay. Nice. Good.
for like
Yeah.
another week.
Oh, dude. Okay. Good. And so when you guys are together, obviously you don't see each other that much. You're both traveling around and everything like that. So it's do you take the attitude, let's try to pack in as much stuff as possible, or let's just lay down and relax and do nothing, or a little bit of both?
We do both. We do
Okay.
both. Yeah,
Oh,
we go on walks every day
yeah.
and we go to the beach and to the pool. We have a nice pool here in the building, so
Very good.
yeah, we try to just spend quality time.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Perfect. Good. Yeah, yeah, really, is that true? If you're really in love with each other, it doesn't matter what you're doing nothing here together. So this is the great Puerto Rican princess Johanna Godinez from Bay Lifestyle. What's the full name of your company? Bay Lifestyle.
Bay lifestyle. Beyond
Okay.
Asana Yoga School.
Very good. Very good. Johanna, we met each other many years ago at Lifetime Fitness in Harrison, New York. We knew each other, but didn't know each other that well. And then we saw each other on Facebook, I think, and got to be good friends. And I've learned a ton from. It's pretty much been a one-way street here. She hasn't learned too much from me. I'm learning everything from her. She's not learning anything from me. So she's learning.
Goes both ways.
No. Well, okay, but you're learning how not to be in a relationship. You're learning like how you should do things from all my
Hey,
mistakes.
anything you learn, positive or negative,
Yep.
is still good.
Very
So,
true. Very true. I know I say this every time we get on now, but I got to tell you, like I'm learning the stuff I'm learning now, and you've been a big part of that. It's just been incredible. Like I told this story yesterday. We had a podcast, but yesterday morning it was snowed here and everything, so it was icy. And in our townhome complex, there's a whole mix. There's older people, younger people, and there's this really nice older woman. I should be careful. I'm 67 years old, so when I say a nice older woman, I'm
she may be younger than you.
there you go. Yeah, exactly. She couldn't get out of her parking spot. It was slippery and everything. So I went over. I was on my way to the gym, and she's very sweet. She goes, "Are you on your?" She felt bad. She said, "You're on your way to the gym." And I said, "That's fine. The gym's not going anywhere. We'll help you out." It took me 30 seconds to get her out of the parking spot, but to her it was a big thing. She gave me a big hug and a kiss on the cheek and a whole bit. And I was walking away. I was much more aware, I think, than I've ever been about thinking about how I was thinking. It was, does that make sense to you? Like, remember I sent you that little clip. What was it? Mega something. There's some term for it. But like like learning to think about your thoughts more. Is that very cool?
Yeah, because we often identify ourselves as our thoughts or as our bodies. And it's incredible, like when you start stepping back and you're like, okay, if I can see my thoughts and I can see my body and I can feel my emotions and know that I'm having the emotions, then is it me that's having the emotions, or am I just the awareness behind all that?
Right.
And that's like, I think the path to spirituality really begins with those questions, like, what am I? Who am I? Am
Yeah.
I the body? Am I the mind? Because like when I think about really who I am, I'm not getting older. I'm not in pain.
Right.
Like my body is getting older. My
Right.
body's aging. My body's in pain. But the awareness of all of it has never changed. It's
Right.
always just been.
Right. And it's that, and it helps you have that ability to not continue down that cycle saying, I am old, I am tired, I'm sick, instead of saying, well, my body may be, but I'm not old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never getting old. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Honestly, God, like I have gotten much more to that place. And it's, it's interesting too. Just like working out with your muscles, it's important to maintain that thought process too, right?
Mhm.
To continually remind yourself and do stuff that like watch good things, like all these reels you can watch. There's good and bad stuff, and talk to good people, have good people in your life, get away from the bad people and everything. And you know what I
Yeah, and
find?
I think the more you do that, also the more you attract people that are willing to have those conversations
Yeah,
with you,
yeah,
right? Because
oh,
like if you're in
yeah,
a negative mindset and you're a negative person that's always complaining and always talking about other people, then the people you attract are the people that like that stuff.
totally,
But if
yeah,
you're in a positive mindset and you like thinking of the future and your goals and your dreams and that anything's possible, then you attract people who want to hear that too.
totally,
So it's,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just going to say hello to a few people here. The great Dougie DeVito. Happy New
Happy New
Year.
Year, Doug.
Yes. Secret Agent Deb here. She does top security stuff around the world. Good to see you both. This is our fantastic his veteran here in Chicago. This young lady's awesome. Very nice.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
she
you,
is. Yeah,
William. Right back
yeah,
at you. It's an
yeah,
honor.
yeah. Um, it's interesting too. You talk about the people you're around, and obviously I've told you before. I love my sons to death, very proud of them and everything, and they're very positive as well. But they knew a version of me from many years ago too, where I wasn't where I am now. So when we sit and talk, my youngest son was over on Sunday. We were starting watching football, so we were talking about stuff, and he does kind of look at me sometimes in a good way, but like who are you? Like because the
What
dad.
did you do with my dad?
Yeah, the dad they grew up with isn't necessarily the dad they have now.
And
Like I
but
do.
isn't that magical too?
Oh,
Like how you can completely change who you are.
yeah,
And I think that's often where like relationships that end, like
yeah,
oftentimes we regret it or we feel bad, but it's like the person that fell in love with that person and the person that loved, if they no longer exist, it's
right,
hard to stay in a
right,
place where you're still viewed as someone who you are no longer.
yeah. And that's why to me it's even more amazing when people stay together because I think part of life is growing and changing too, right?
Mhm.
So if
Mhm.
those people can stay together for 50 years or whatever,
It's
and
magic.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Either they okay, so let's get into that. So do they both change the same or do they accept how the other person is changing? I guess there's a lot going on there, right? That you have to
Yeah, I mean it can be both, you know. It can be like we're growing, but we're growing in the same path, or
right,
it could be like we're growing in separate ways, but we're adapting to each other growth in a way that we accept it and we don't feel like we're missing anything, right? Because
right,
oftentimes we attach to certain things about people and we deem our love kind of dependent on those things about people, but that's not unconditional or unconditional love, that's conditional love.
right.
So when you have unconditional love, it's a lot easier for you to adapt to changes and to understand that like we're all on a journey, and to want to hold someone back from their journey doesn't serve you or the other
Right.
person, even
Right.
if that journey is a negative journey for the person, right? Because they may need to be going through that in order to up level or become a different person or learn a lesson or whatever the case may be. So even holding them back when it's a bad thing that they're doing or that they're going through,
Right.
that's still not helpful
Right.
for either side.
Okay. So you're married. Your husband now, I'm not talking about you, but
Mhm.
your husband is going through some bad period where something that's happened to him bad. You love him and you don't want him to continue to go through the bad stuff he's going through, but you really can't, you're saying you really can't stop him from doing it.
You can support him, but you
Right.
can't like for example, my mom was an alcoholic when I was younger, and I got her a leave of absence. I got her put in rehab and I did all of these things, but I did it for her.
Right.
So she stayed sober for a little bit, but then she went back to drinking.
Right.
Whereas when she made the choice of, I'm over this, I'm not going to be drinking anymore, then she was sober for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, like, it wasn't up to me. Like, of course, I was much younger then. I was in my early 20s. So I thought I could change the world and
Yeah.
and I could help this person and it was going to be all. And that's just not the case.
Okay.
Right.
So in going back to that, okay, obviously you're younger, you don't know the stuff you know now, but what would have been the better thing for you to do then? Just let her figure it out for herself?
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean, support her, like help her see where she's at. If she wants help, help her to get help, but not force her into it. Like I did
right.
the whole like intervention thing where I got her
Right.
friends together and I made this elaborate thing out of helping her quit, but like she never asked for it. She wasn't
Right.
in a place
But
where she
that's
could have. Yeah.
yeah. But that's tough though too because you love your mother obviously, and you think you want to help her. You just don't want to continue to go through the bad time. But you
Yeah,
still
but one thing is helping someone, and another thing is forcing your will on
Mhm.
someone.
Right.
And I think at that point in time, like she wasn't ready. So I
Right.
was forcing my will on her.
Right.
And I mean, like, could it have helped? Yeah, of course. Like, if she understood through the process
Yeah.
that this was the best thing for her, but
Right.
because she wasn't ready, and that's okay too. Like,
Right.
a lot of people go through cycles before they find their sobriety,
Right.
and each one of those cycles teaches them something that actually helps them stay sober once they
Yeah.
make the decision and the commitment and are able to. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
It
a
is
part of the
interesting.
process.
As you're talking about that too, I'm thinking about myself. I'm so much like that. Somebody could tell me something about fasting, or you and I had this conversation about stuff 7 or 8 years ago, and I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it, but I really didn't pay attention to it. It wasn't until I decided that I really wanted to get into it that now I started listening to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can plant a seed on
Yeah.
someone through our conversations and our actions, but to actually make that seed grow, the person has to water it themselves. Like you
Yeah.
cannot water it from the outside. They have to water it from the inside, and then they have to help it grow. And yes, we can use other people's ideas and thoughts. That's why we listen to so many podcasts. That's why we get educated by reading books. But it's not until we decide to put that knowledge into action that it's
Yeah.
actually going to make any difference.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay, I do have to kind of circle back. We got talking last time about okay, so making things happen in our universe.
Hmm.
So correct me if I'm wrong when you were saying that you can do all the things necessary that you can do, but you can't necessarily make it happen. It's either going to happen or not. You can set it up to do everything you do, but because now, so I was thinking about it more where maybe this is the stubborn farm boy hockey player kind of thing. No, I can make it happen. I feel like I can do it. I make it happen. And
So you create the actions that make it able to happen, but exactly how it happens, like we think we have all of this control over everything. But for example, let's say that like you are in love with this person.
right,
And you say like I'm gonna make it happen to where I'm gonna go out with this person and
right,
we're gonna be together.
right,
Okay, so you can create everything that puts you guys in the same room and that creates the relationship, but like the other person also needs to put in something in order for that to happen, and you have no control over whether that other person does it or doesn't do it.
right.
So yes, you have the ability to take every opportunity presented to you, but if you think that things are going to happen exactly on this day, exactly this way, exactly that way, and you put blinders on, opportunities may come that will lead you to that place. But because you had in your mind an
Uh,
idea of everything's going to happen the way that I think it's going to happen, you missed the opportunity to actually make it happen. So my mom always used to say, so there was this flood and there was a guy on the roof of his house, and a guy comes in a kayak and says, jump in the kayak, I'm going to save you. And he says, no, God's going to save me. And a guy comes in a helicopter and throws down a rope and says, I'm here to save you. And he says, no, God's going to save me. And then he drowns. And when he meets God, he says, God, why didn't you save me? And he's like, dude, I sent you a guy on a freaking kayak. I sent you a helicopter and you chose not to take it.
I've
Like,
heard.
I was saving you.
I actually heard that before. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. That
Yeah,
is good.
so it's that idea of like, of course, no action means manifesting isn't just I'm thinking about it and I'm sitting down and waiting for it to happen. Of
Right.
course, there has to be an action.
Right.
But when we think this is exactly how it's going to be and I'm exactly going to do it that way, we tend to get opportunities that we don't see because they don't come in the packages that we expect
Right.
them in.
Okay. So it's okay. So there's an old saying that I've used in my life. What is Plan B? Finish Plan A.
Hmm.
So it's still, so your mind, it's still finished Plan A, but along the way there are going to be some variations that come along. You have a goal that you're after, and you have a path that you've created, but along the way you have to be willing to maybe take a veer to the left or a veer to the right to get to that same goal. Okay.
Yeah, and understanding that like when things don't work out, like as you're moving through it, like you take some steps that doesn't get you there.
Right.
Instead of seeing that like as, oh, I'm failing, seeing as like, oh, what do I need to learn from this that I need to do different to be able to make it happen? Right?
Right.
Because we've talked before about how words like failure are
Yeah.
just a concept. Like it's you give it meaning, but it doesn't
Right.
inherently have any meaning. So it's that same idea.
Right.
And to be honest, like there's also nothing wrong with having contingencies. So for example, I help a lot of people start new businesses.
Right.
And the first thing that I tell them is don't quit your job. And most people think they need to go all in. But the issue is this: if you don't have funds What are you more worried about? The health of this new business that you are starting, or the fact that you don't know how you're going to pay your rent? Right? So we need to understand that basic needs are root chakra. Root chakra are survival things, and survival things trump everything else because that's kind of in our reptilian brain, right? Like we need to survive. We need to be able to eat. We need to have a home. We need to have water. We need to have shelter. So when you can make sure that those needs are met and then spend all of your extra time, effort, and money in building what you have to build, you create a healthier business than when you're like, okay, if this doesn't work, I'm going broke, I'm going bankrupt. Like those ideas don't make it for you to be
Right.
able to learn and take opportunities and take the wrong turn and then learn something and make the right turn,
Yeah,
right?
very true. Because you're so right. Because a lot of times in building a new business, it will take time. But if you're rushing it because you need to pay the bills, then now you're hurting your business. Actually, I went through that
Exactly.
when I retired from playing and got into the agent business, and I was fortunate. I still had time left on my contract. We paid that out over a period of time, so I had an income for 4 to 5 years. And I did notice that. Listen, I was starting this new business. I had things to learn, but I felt comfortable that I had a young family. I was taking care of the bills, so I could build my business.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
Yeah, it'd be really hard if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids, for
yeah,
you to have your mind and your energy all going towards building this new business and making
yeah,
sure that it's built on a solid foundation, right? Because if you're skipping steps
yeah.
and there's bricks missing, like at one point you're going to get to the top and you don't have a strong enough foundation for
Yeah.
it to sustain
Yeah,
itself.
very true. Yeah, we do hear all those very motivational stories about people who are on their last dime and they finally made it work. And that's nice for the people where it worked for, but there's the other people then that, okay, well, what if it didn't work? I mean, because that is the nature. I mean, we don't, like you said, we don't want to be negative. We always say, listen, I'm going to make it work. But the nature of life itself, that things just don't always work. It doesn't mean that you are a failure, that you've done something wrong. Things just don't,
Yeah,
maybe don't work right away. And I think that's the key, right? Is understanding that just because it didn't work then doesn't mean it won't ever work. And it doesn't mean,
exactly.
right, it doesn't mean you failed. Like once you start saying those words, I failed, well, then now that's what your brain hears. Now yeah,
Yeah, and it's understanding the nature of the business. Like, for example, when I started the yoga school, like, I know that in order for me to be able to run this 100% and give 100% of myself, I can't depend on it being so successful that I'm going to be some kind of millionaire based on it.
right.
Like I have other investments and other things that help support the months that I'm not teaching because I don't want to be running from studio to studio anymore. I just want to focus on teacher training. Okay, well the most teacher trainings I've been able to do in a year is 6. Okay, well 6 means that for half the year I'm not working. So even then, like, right? But when you're honest enough with yourself and you understand the nature of your business, then you can say, okay, well, I need to set up my life so that I have enough supplemental income so that I know that for 5 or 6 months out of the year I'm going to make money. I'm going to be able to budget that money because
Yeah,
for example, I teach my last one in November and then my next one is in February. So that's December and January are 2 months that I know I'm never going to be working. So I have to plan ahead and know, right? So it's also understanding the nature of the business and of things,
yeah,
and building it in a way that is sustainable, right? If I was just teaching 1 hour classes and getting paid for the 1 hour class, I would consistently be trying to find clients and be stressed out over finding clients. Whereas if I make packages where people can see me for 1 month or 3 months or 6 months, then I know that I can support myself a lot better.
yeah.
So it's like looking at everything that has to do with the business and how you can sort of make it more sustainable.
Yeah. Our boy William Haynes here, he's a veteran. I've been married 32 years. I'm a combat vet. My wife sat me down 20 years ago and talked to me about my PTSD, and I was affected by marriage and family. I went to the VA for help. Uh,
But see, he went to the VA for help.
yeah, yeah,
Right? So she's supporting him, but William made the steps.
yeah,
She didn't make the steps for him. She said, "Listen, this is how this is affecting me." He could have said, "I don't see it," and not done anything about it. But
right,
he went ahead and made moves. And because she has the unconditional love, she says, okay, well, I see him that he's making an effort, so I'm going to support him as he's making that effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a great example, right? I'm thinking about that. I'm digesting that a little bit there. So she was smart enough to realize I can't make him do anything, but I can make him see how it's affecting our family. Then he's got to take the action to do what he needs to do. Well, that's good. That's a great story. Good job, William. Your wife's a saint too.
Yes.
Yeah. That's interesting, right? Because I mean, it's easy to look back at it now and say, wow, great move by his wife. But it's not always that easy when it's happening, right? To figure all that out.
Of course not. No, the communication aspect has to be there ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have open communication with your partner, when your partner comes to tell you something's affecting them, if you're operating based on your ego, you're going to think they're attacking you in some way.
Right.
And when you feel attacked, you don't take action, right? So there's also, obviously, there was good communication there to begin with, where
Right.
she's like, listen, I'm going to open up and be honest with you. And he took it as like this is something that I need to do something about it, right?
We were talking yesterday, and it started off as me kind of joking, but it became a little bit more of a serious conversation. So acknowledging that men and women are different, right?
Of course.
Right. So like I use the example where I think it's fair to say women maybe like to vent more. And I'm generalizing, not every woman's like this, and then they want their man to understand that they don't want the man to fix something. They just want the man to be there and vent.
Listen. Mm-hmm.
Right. But what I was trying to get across, I don't know if I said it properly. I've come to the realization, how I feel anyways, is that men are made differently. Men are, if my wife or somebody I love comes to me and there's a problem,
you want to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of fight that is now you're fighting who you are as a man, instead of just acknowledging, okay, I know she wants me to listen. I get that.
But you can even ask though, right? So someone's venting and you say, is there something that you would like me to do about this?
Okay. All right.
And then they can say, no, I would just like for you to listen.
I know.
Right.
And I get you're totally correct. I get the logic exactly. But I just think and I've gone back, I think one of the things that I really have worked on is understanding that if I have in the past, if I felt a certain way and somebody would say, oh, you're this or you're that, I would start doubting my thoughts and how I felt, instead of just acknowledging that this is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman that I love very much, if he says to me, Tom, I don't need you to do something, I just want you to listen. I hear you and I'll do my best. But inside, I'm a man and I want to fix it. It is everything in my power to stop myself from getting up off the couch or wherever I've been listening and go do whatever I need to do to fix the problem. Right. That is my immediate reaction. Even though
but you can also say that,
right.
You say, I'm listening and God, everything in me would like to do this for you. Right. And just open that up, because maybe she does want you to do something once you mention what you're going to do, or maybe she's like, that's the worst thing that you could do. Right. And then like, it's all communication, because oftentimes like when feelings arise, especially for women, because men tend to say, well, women are too emotional. Right. So then when we are feeling emotional, we question, like, can I be open about these emotions, or are they going to feel bad because somehow I'm getting emotional? Right. So it goes both ways in terms of that struggle inside.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. So if you want to have a good marriage, so if I was to say to the woman, okay, I want to go do something, I don't want her to feel next time around that she can't come and vent to me because I'm just going to jump up and do something about it. She doesn't want that. She's going to say, I can't tell my husband because he's just going to want to save the day.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
So that's why opening up and being like, God, listening to you makes me feel like I want to do this.
Right.
And then just opening that up, and then maybe she'll come back and say, listen, if you do that, this would be the repercussion that would cause. Right. And then that becomes another way of communicating what everyone's feeling and how everyone's responding to the feelings.
Right. Because like, and part of what goes on with a man, well, with me, I won't tell every man, is that feeling that I'm less of a man because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a man. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, okay, I understand, honey. I get the logic. I totally, and I respect your feelings the whole bit. But man, my man, my manhood is like, I want to fix it. Like, especially if somebody's doing something to the woman I love or whatever like that, or disrespecting her in some way, like to just sit there and not do something about it. Oh God, it's just I and again, I hope you understand. I'm acknowledging what you're saying. Like the communication thing is huge, but I can just see myself sitting there saying, "Okay, we'll communicate it." But deep down inside,
But
yeah, deep down inside, I'm still saying, "Oh God, I just want to go fix it." I don't know. That's
no,
but
and that teaches us a lot about ourselves,
yeah,
right? Like what about fixing it is really gonna
I
make
know.
a difference for anybody, right? So it's like now
Or
you
yeah.
start to question that too. So
So yeah, so it's a great question. So am I really being selfish in that regard? Like, if I'm
mm,
just saying I'm just worried about my feelings in this whole thing,
mm-hmm.
but then it's also like, okay, but I can't deny my feelings either, right? So I guess that's the communication part where I've got to be able to say to each other, honey, I understand you want me to listen, but I just want you to know, like inside of me, like it, hopefully you, and I guess part of it is hopefully now you've got the right partnership there too, right? The right teammate that
Yeah.
understands, we understand each other. So
Yeah. And I think communication is one of the most important things because as we mentioned at the beginning, like as we progress through life, things about us change. And
right,
the more that there's communication, the more that those changes are being laid out and seen instead of it happening inside and then out of nowhere someone notices it and it catches them by surprise
right,
kind of thing. So
right.
communication, I think, I mean with friendships, with family, with loved ones, I think it's such an important thing for everyone to sort of grow and be on the same page about how everyone's feeling and
Right.
also because then you notice when people are acting from a space of self-preservation or ego and it when you lay that out on the table it's just easier to process by everyone involved.
Right. Do you think men are more? And I'll answer the question before I ask the question. I do think this. I think men need more reminders along the way. Like you may have a discussion at some point about what you expect from like, if you want to vent, but it may be let's say it's a year down the road, and the same thing comes up. I always feel like men. I'll speak for myself. I'll feel like I don't handle it well, and then the woman will look and go, "I told you this a year ago," and I go, "Oh yeah, I you know what I mean?" I think men tend to, especially if emotions get involved, men tend to forget that. Okay, yeah, we did discuss this, and this is that's maybe
Well,
that's
I mean,
me.
and as a woman, like if you understand that about your partner, then you can start
Yeah,
the conversation exactly like
yeah,
that. It's like, listen, I'm feeling really emotional and I need to vent. I don't need you to fix anything. I
okay,
just really need you to listen.
all right,
And
okay. Does
done.
that that's great. So does that take away from your ventability if you have to remind your
I don't think so
okay,
because
all right,
I mean if you already know that this person is the kind of person that is a fixer
right,
and wants everything to be perfect like you're just giving them that gentle reminder
okay, all right,
and like again that's part of you accepting the way that they are like I know if I just say this they're going to want to fix it so
right,
I need to start the conversation by saying listen I don't need you to fix anything I just really
okay,
need you to
okay,
listen because I
yeah,
need to get this off my
okay.
chest right
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess like that goes back to the communication. If you've had the discussion before, so that the woman in this case who wants to vent understands how her husband or loved one is feeling, so she knows, okay, I need to I kind of warn him that this is a time where just stop and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah, and I mean that's the work part of a relationship, right? Like
right,
it's getting to know like how do I make this work
right,
between two people that are two separate entities that have different thoughts and have different ways of operating. Like how do we make this work together?
right.
You get to know each other's quirks and ticks and you work with it. It's
And that's
really the only way to stick it
right.
out.
And that is a big part of it. Just acknowledging that men and women are different. Like the
Of
woman can't
course.
expect the man to think like a woman, and the woman can't expect the man to, or vice versa. Yeah,
Yeah, and even not just men and women, just
yeah,
people like
yeah.
all together, you know. I know like I'm not as emotional as other women. Like I think I don't know why, but I'm just not.
Right,
So it's one of those things where I also need to be aware of that with my girlfriends. Like sometimes they're going to be really emotional about things and I'm not going to understand
Right.
why they're getting so emotional, but because I know that about myself, then that makes me accept the fact that like no, but they are and
Right.
that's okay. So I just need to be a good friend and just sit, shut up and listen, right?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. And again, that takes some work though, too, right? Like we talked about, I can't remember the term, but thinking about your own thoughts, like understanding, okay, I understand who I am. Like that's the biggest part, understanding who you are. And for me, that's been the biggest journey for me is to understand
mhm.
who I am, right?
Yeah.
And and to not doubt myself either, to not say, well, Tom, you shouldn't think like that. Well, if I think like that,
You think like that.
yeah, you can't say it.
Yeah, and that's a huge part that we don't speak about enough in society. Like we all have a shadow side. We
Right.
all have a side that's a little darker, a little stranger, a little angrier or more judgmental. And it's not about saying I am a horrible person because I think that way.
Right.
It is, I am thinking that way. Does that serve me? Or does that serve the situation? And kind of seeing it from another point of view because we can't hide or deny our shadows. It isn't until we integrate our shadows that we can live more peacefully inside, right? Not outside. Nobody knows our shadows. We hide them. So
Right.
nobody outside knows them. We struggle with them more internally than externally. So it's integrating those shadows and understanding like when that thought came into my head, that's a bad thought or a dark thought,
Right.
like that thought is a part of this being.
Right.
So how do I manage and integrate those thoughts without it causing pain to others
Right.
or myself?
And like you said, though, don't think of yourself as a bad person because you have a
No.
bad thought. It's just a bad thought that you have. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the thought popped up. It's how you handle it popping up that makes all the difference in the world.
Right. And that's be aware, right? You're aware that, okay, I have this inside me. So
Mhm.
when it does happen, don't be alarmed by it or feeling terrible about it. Just say, okay, this is part of who I am. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I tell you these things are all what I'm learning too is, and I know you know this stuff is it's not something that you just, okay, I'm going to talk about this one time and now it's all fixed. It's all
No.
understood. It's a constant working on it. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as going to a gym to build your muscles and being healthy. It's
Yeah.
mental.
You
Yeah.
you literally working on it every day until you die.
Yeah.
Like
Really.
there is no end in sight because it's like everything else. So you're working out really, really hard, and then you go on vacation for a couple of weeks, and then when you come back, it gets harder to get into your routine. Like the same thing happens
Right.
inside. Like I'm really mindful of my thoughts, and then for some reason I got off the wagon and my thoughts started to become more abundant
Sure.
and to own me a little more, and then
Yeah.
it's going back to that awareness. So it's a work in progress. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why yoga is a practice.
Yeah.
There isn't this perfection that you're going to achieve, that you're going
Right.
to be this enlightened being and life is going to be perfect. Like no, it's every day realizing it and every day putting it into play
Yeah.
regardless of what's going
And
on.
really being aware of the negative world we live in, like you were watching
Mm,
the news or whatever it is, or people. It seems like, and from some of the reading I've read, it just seems to be natural that people tend to be negative first, and then kind of have to train themselves to be positive. Do you agree with that?
oh, absolutely. Like for example, I was playing poker the other day because my husband's a poker player. So
Right.
I like to play poker every once in a while. And I had one bad hand that I couldn't get out of my head. And I was like, dude, I did so well in the game. I don't remember one of the really good hands. I just remember the one bad hand.
Right.
And that happens about everything. Like you do really good things in life, you make one mistake, and your brain is consistently
Yeah.
focused on that mistake. And it's practice for you to, and that's why a gratitude practice is a really like amazing way for you to embark on a spiritual journey. It's just get up in the morning and remind yourself of the things that you're grateful for
Right.
because there's always so much to be grateful for. But every once in a while, there's one thing that's
Oh.
irking at us, and then it just takes over our thoughts, it takes over our lives. And it takes practice for you to come
Oh.
back to like, no, I'm grateful because there's
It does.
things that are happening that are
I'm
great.
I'm definitely like that. I could have a fantastic time, whatever. If I have one conversation with somebody that irritates me in some way, I'll come back to it. Okay. And it's, you have to fight it to say, no, okay, that was one conversation. Don't let that ruin the whole, have a fantastic week and you have one conversation with somebody and it ruins the whole week. But yeah, it happens.
And it's also like if something is in your mind and it's bothering you that much, like do something about it.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, like we do have that conversation. Let's say that you said something that you shouldn't have said,
Yeah.
or they said something that you didn't react to properly. Like go back, finish that conversation, like have it again. Because
Actually go back and have it with the person or in your head.
yeah,
Oh,
why
okay.
not?
Okay.
Yeah. I
All right.
think I think it takes a lot from us to do that, to say like I shouldn't have reacted that way.
Uh,
However, like this is why, or maybe explain it, whatever, like whatever you feel you need to get out that you didn't get out.
Okay. So, all right. So where I live in this townhouse complex, there's probably 300 units. I don't know. There's probably 1,000 people living here. Young people, old people, some people with kids, some people with dogs, some people with no dogs, some no kids. So there's really there's rules like the dogs have to be on a leash. You pick up after your dogs. You park in your own parking spot, but there's really nobody around to enforce the rules. So people, as people do, they tend to take advantage of the rules. Dogs off the leash and everything. So old Tom boy has decided that he is going to be the police of the whole unit. So, and I'm trying to say to myself, okay, Tom, settle down. But then I think to myself, okay, this is one of these times like, no, this bothers me. I'm paying a lot of money in rent. If somebody parks in my parking spot and I can't use it, well, that aggravates me. If somebody's walking their dog without a leash on, it aggravates me. I love dogs, but it aggravates me. So I try to be. So a lady the other day after it snowed was having her dog, and it was a Mastiff or whatever, with the big head and everything. So it wasn't like a poodle. So the woman's got the dog running around with no leash on. So I'm thinking, all right, I've got to say something because so I tried to be nice at the start. I go, ma'am, you've got to put your dog on a leash. And she's got the leash in her hand and she's walking by. She goes, okay, but she doesn't put the dog on a leash. So now the blood pressure cranks up a little bit higher. And I'm thinking, ma'am, you need to put the dog on the leash now. And it took everything inside me to say, okay, should I be mad about this? Like this is where should I be mad about this? Do I let it go? How do I handle it? Like the old Tom would have just escalated to a whole different level and said some words that would have been very unkind. So it was the struggle.
I mean, I think we need to react or kind of think to ourselves, like, where is this coming from?
Right.
Is it coming from a place of ego? Is it coming from a place where like this dog is seriously causing some issues that can cause some safety issues for other people, right? Like, because sometimes it's our ego that's like, I want to enforce this and I want to be listened to, right? So it takes a lot of self-inquiry to understand.
And that's a very good point. So I think I'm still evolving. So I'm not because it's still a little bit of a struggle to figure out, okay, is this about my ego? Or is this about the fact that this dog could bite somebody? Now, the dog wasn't anywhere near me. She seemed like she had the dog under control. But the fact is the dog was still supposed to be on a leash. So I think a big part of it was my ego that, okay. But then I'm also thinking, all right, so if I sit here and just let it piss me off all the time, like somebody's parking in my spot and they're not picking up. So all this stuff's happening. And eventually I'm sitting there and I'm getting all aggravated and I'm not doing anything. So I think, okay, just say something so that at least you can say, okay, instead of complaining about it, you're trying to do something about it. So.
But then it's also asking yourself, like, why does this aggravate me so much? Like, I get the parking spot one, because I live in a building where if I were to park in another spot, I'm getting fined $250. So if I come home and someone's in my spot, that irks me. And I block them with my car, and then I go inside and I move earth and sky for security to find this person to move out of my parking spot, right? But that's directly affecting my ability to be able to get out of my car and get home. But the dog situation, it's like, why is that affecting me so much, right? So it's asking the question as to, why is this getting under my skin? Why am I allowing my thoughts to be in something that, one, doesn't affect me, and two, is out of my control.
Right.
Right? Because so many things that mess us up here that we're just ruminating in
Right.
are completely out of our control.
Right.
When that happens, what are you going to do about it? Like,
Right.
your thoughts can stay in it, but if there's no action that can be
Right.
taken, then it's up to you to manage those thoughts and to figure
Correct.
out a way to manage those thoughts, because otherwise it's just going to stay there and there is no solution to it. So
Right.
now, if there is a solution, take the steps.
Right. Right.
But otherwise,
I know. And that is the best. And especially at the time when it's happening too, right? Because like you said, like with your parking spot, and rightfully so, if you're going to get fined $250, then why is somebody else parking in your spot? So naturally the aggravation level increases. Now, are you totally thinking clearly, like if you were to calm down and say, okay, how should I react? It's nice to say, like somebody wrote here. So I maybe a small story. So Deb wrote here, you've grown more than you know. You don't throw ladders anymore. So that goes back. Yeah, have I told you the story about throwing the ladder? Oh, okay. So I'll be brief. But there's a law here, well, in most towns, that at a certain time, any construction noise has to stop. So they have people come in from the outside. They'll work on the roofs, the rain gutters, whatever it is. And they're hardworking guys. And so they want to get the job done. So 7 o'clock, the noise is supposed to stop at night. So it's a nice Saturday. It's a nice Thursday night, whatever, during the summer. Everybody's sitting outside, barbecue, or whatever. So these guys are still working, and it's like 7:15. So I've said, and they're 20, 25 feet down away from me. So I give them a few minutes. They don't stop, and there's like 10 of them. And I'm out there by myself. And so I was nice at first. Said, guys, 7 o'clock, you need to stop. Well, as soon as they start giving me an attitude, like, why nobody else is bothered by it? What's your problem? And all this kind of stuff. So the old Tom with what I did was I took the ladder that they were going up on the roof with, and I threw it down the hill. And the 10 of them are looking at me, and they were like, I think they were so shocked they didn't know what to do. And as soon as I did it, I was like, this is the word part. There's a part of me that felt really good that I did it. I must admit, I felt really good. And the other part is like, oh God, Tom, what did you do? You know, obviously nobody got hurt. There's no damage, anything like that. But so Deb, yeah. So I've gotten better. There's no more throwing of equipment or anything like that. So, oh God,
growth. We celebrate the growth.
Yes, doesn't matter where you are now. It's the fact that you've gotten better. You keep improving. Yes.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things in my life that I'm not so proud of. I don't regret them, but I'm not proud of them, and I've grown from them, and I'm different now, so that's okay.
That's one of the things that I've gotten more and more. I don't think I ever sat back before and regretted necessarily things I did, but I've gotten more better at saying, I don't even know if those things were mistakes necessarily. They were just things that happened in my life because of who I was at the time, the situation, everything. So yeah, but
well, thinking it as a mistake doesn't serve you either, because it's a mistake that you can't fix. So it's like, it is just a happening. Like you wouldn't have done anything different because that's who you were at the time.
Yeah.
Given the opportunity now, you may have done something different because you're a different person now. Yeah. So regretting things in the past and saying, oh, I made these mistakes, I wish I would have never done that, that doesn't serve anyone, because what's done is done. Totally. So just grow from it. That would be the only way out, you know? Okay,
let's go a little deep here, real deep. This is a deep one. Okay, so we're living in a galaxy, in a universe, or it's the universe in a galaxy, whatever it is, and there's billions of stars, billions of planets. And do you think we are the end all be all of the planets, or do you think we are just maybe a minuscule, insignificant piece?
I mean, I don't always love to have this conversation because I have very specific ideas. Like, I think we're a virus to this planet. Like, I think like we are a species that has the ability to do so much good, and we choose to mess everything up, and we choose to hurt things, and we choose, like, it's even more terrible because it's a choice, like a conscious choice to do the wrong thing. So I mean, I think as a species, like, we can't be the be all of all of it, because otherwise, like, then the universe made a mistake, and the
Right.
universe doesn't make mistakes. So
Okay.
I think we have the ability to be a lot more grandiose than we are once we realize our true nature
Right.
and the divinity that is within us and the responsibility that comes with being a co-creator of life and the universe. But most of us are asleep. We're ignorant to everything. We're just
Right.
machines. Like,
Right. And it's not, again, us that are asleep aren't necessarily the ones that are bad. It seems like we're allowing a small percentage of people, our government, to do bad things, the wars, the corruption, all that kind of stuff. But we allow it to happen, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, but I mean, it has to be a collective thing. Like, we need to raising the vibration takes a collective, like a very small group of people.
Okay. All right. So
Like,
how would you fix it then? We're the way we're living right now.
well, I mean, I think it starts with our youth, right? So teaching our youth to be free thinkers and to understand who they are. Like, I mean, from a very young age, our creativity and our ability to be free thinkers starts to diminish, right? So they did a study in which they studied, I think it was over 150 children at the age of like 3 or 4. 98% of them were geniuses. By the time they were 15, only 2% of them were
Right.
geniuses. So is the school system making them smarter or making them dumber? And I don't think it's so much the school system. I think it's the system itself, like
Right.
the whole thing, right? Because as kids, why? What is this, mommy? What is
Yeah.
this, daddy? Shut up, because I said so. This, that, right? So right away, like a lot of the questioning gets
Right.
muffled.
Yeah.
And then we are on a rewards and punishment system where when you do what you are told, you're good, I'm going to reward you, but if you do what I don't ask, you're bad.
Yeah.
So all of those things take away a lot of our true nature, which is to be free and in the moment.
Yeah.
And then also there's like religions, and there's, I mean, even sports teams. Like, people have committed suicide when their
Oh,
sports
I know.
team loses
Yeah.
a final. Like, I mean, the fact that we are attaching ourselves and identifying ourselves with things that don't belong to us, and they cause all of these wars and fights and
Yeah.
discussions that don't help build people up. Like, I mean, it's the whole system is
Yeah.
broken, and I to be honest, I don't know how to fix it.
Well,
I wish I did,
yeah.
but
To me,
I can only fix myself,
yeah.
right? I like, we can
Well,
only take responsibility for ourselves and then see how that inspires the world.
I think like I mean, I'm sure it's happened in other places too, but recently Nepal, a country of about 30 million people, recently just threw all their government officials out of
Yeah.
the street.
Yeah.
Now, that's like people have mentioned the word civil war here and all. A civil war is two, like let's say the Republicans and Democrats fighting against each other. That's not what needs to happen.
No.
It's more throw I hate using the word leaders, throw the government officials out and start all over again.
Well, and it's also like, stop worrying so much about the bottom line. So, for example, why is plastic still being, why is it still around?
Why is
Like,
plastic?
we have the ability to have technologies where we're not creating something that
Yeah.
is so terrible for our earth,
Right.
but money wise,
Right.
that would
And you know
be
what? But
bad.
that example, and that's a great example, is used in so many ways. So I was joking around, but I looked up like the alphabet, for example. So there's 26 letters, but there's really no rhyme or reason why they're in the order that they're in.
No.
Right. So you could say the 26 letters in your own order. You wouldn't be wrong. But
No.
we now just are trained to believe that this is the order. Like, it's kind of funny, but if you like somebody gets pulled over for drunk driving and the police officer says, okay, recite the alphabet for me. If you did it in a different order, you're not wrong in saying in a different order. It's just that
You'd get arrested.
yeah, exactly. It'd be pretty funny, but if you get arrested, but like we've talked about the sun rising and setting. Well, it doesn't rise and set, but if you were in a room with 100 people and you said, oh, the sun's coming into view, they would all look at you like, what are you talking about? It's coming into view. It's rising. but you're the only one that would be right in saying the sun's coming into view. But
Yeah.
it's examples of that we've just been told things over and over that that's the way it's supposed to be. So we just
Yeah.
continue down the road.
Yeah. But I think if you notice, like it's all the free thinkers that make big changes in the
Yeah.
world. Like even Einstein, like Einstein is known as this scientific guy. Einstein was super spiritual. Like he knew that he could not find all the answers because they're beyond the mind's
Yeah.
comprehension. Like, and when you understand stuff like that, then you realize like free thinking is what's radical and it is what causes the changes that need to happen. But
Yeah.
of course we train people not to be free thinkers because
Sure.
also free thinking means that you're not following rules
Right.
and you're so it's
But it's even like if you watch TV shows or documentaries about, okay, how were the pyramids built? They base it on all of our technology and our abilities instead of thinking, well, maybe the people that built it had a whole
telekinesis.
they had a whole different set of skills and like that. But I think that's even like when we talk about aliens or whatever, it's all based on our form of living. Like they say, well, is a planet inhabitable? Well, based on our thought process, it could be inhabitable or not. But maybe there's other species out there that it's a whole different. They don't have to live the way they don't need oxygen or whatever it is. So yeah, I that's one of the big things I've learned is to just actually I've been asked to do a presentation for a business, investment bank, and then one of the things they really wanted me to touch on was thinking outside the box. So it's really got me doing more research about things like the alphabet, for example. Like it's just kind of one of those things you look at and go, okay, you start to think like, okay, why am I going along with everybody else? It's 26 letters. I'll use them in the order I want to use them in, right?
Yeah.
So,
like if solutions are not being found in the box, the only way to find the solutions are outside the box. Like it's just that's just the way it is.
Very true. What's Leo's last name? Your husband?
Nash.
Leo Nash. That's right. And now have you taken his name as well?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
That's not I have it on Facebook, but no, not officially.
Yeah, that's not as big a thing now, I don't think, for men and women, right? Like
I would never. It's not even a thing in my head. I'm not changing my name. If I do change my name, I would change my first name more than I would change my last name.
What would you change your first name to?
To Io.
Io?
Mm-hmm.
Like I-O, like the two letters I-O?
Mm-hmm.
Why that?
That's the name my mom wanted to give me before she gave me the name Johanna. And Io is it's the most explosive, it's a moon in our solar system, and there's always volcanoes going off. So I feel like it matches me a lot better than Johanna.
You're a volcano. So when you look at yourself, that's how you view yourself, more of a volcano. Is that how you view yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty explosive. I have a lot of energy, and a lot of it is I just let it go. I don't try to control it as much as other people do.
Yeah, good.
But I think that's what keeps me young too. Again,
totally.
I try not to stay in the box.
I got to tell you, I believe that 100%. The more stupid I act, I think it really makes me feel bad. Like I tell people I've got this thoroughly blissful ignorance. I was in the gym the other day at our complex. It's not a huge gym, but it's very nice. They fix it up, and you kind of see the same people. Go around the same time every day. You see the same people. So this one nice young woman comes in, and she's very, very friendly and everything. But you can tell she wants to work out. So you realize, okay, leave her alone. Say hello. Leave her alone. Everybody kind of gets the rules of the gym. You've been in many gyms in your life. And so she came in the other day, and I was in this goofy mood. It was just her and I in the gym. And I'm hey, what's happening? I'm high five, and I'm loud and all that kind of stuff. She stopped for a second, and she turned around and walked out. And she left. It could have been a coincidence, but I do think, oh God, this guy is just over the top. And as much I felt bad because I didn't want to ruin her workout, but the other side of me was like, I was kind of proud. Like, I was so stupid that I was like, I don't know. It's like you said, it's like, let it rip him.
You can't. I mean, you can only control you. You can't control how other people are going to react. Like, I mean, I take my shoes off and cross my legs at every restaurant that I go to, and I get looks sometimes because I'm in a nice restaurant with a nice dress on, crossing my legs barefoot in the restaurant, and it's like, I can't I
I
can't
know.
control how
I
it
know.
irks you, but
I
it
know.
doesn't irk me. It makes me very comfortable. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do me, and you can figure out your
I
deal
know.
over there, and whatever. And you could say, well, it's a nice restaurant. There must be a rule that you can't take off your.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply to me. I
And
don't
that,
care.
see, to me, that's definitely one of those things that, listen, if you don't like it, don't look. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I see these
But
videos.
I know that like I've sat next to people that are looking at me like it irks them. And to be honest, like I'm not gonna change
Yeah,
to make you feel good. I don't even know you.
I
Like,
know.
and I don't know what your problem is, and I'm
Right.
just gonna let you live in it. Like
Yeah.
it's
And that's definitely one of those things that you are not really affecting their life. They're letting what you're doing affect their life.
Mhm.
They're
But
making.
oftentimes that's how it is, you know? Like especially now with social media, like someone will post something and someone else will rip them a new one for what they're doing. And it's like if you hadn't read about it,
Yeah,
you wouldn't know.
I
So
know.
how is it affecting you in any way? Why do you have to make them feel bad if it's not really
Isn't that
about
true?
you?
Can you imagine a world where you never watched the news, you just didn't listen to the radio, you didn't get on social media, so you don't know all the stuff that's going on? Your life would be like pretty good because you don't know all the bad stuff that's
Yeah.
happening, right?
Like
Yeah.
I think part of what's holding us back from growing in humanity is all of this
Yeah.
that we can watch. And the thing is, the algorithms, like if you're used to
Oh,
watching something negative, the algorithms are going to keep bringing you these
totally.
negative things. And so, or if you have a very specific way of thinking, the algorithms are going to keep sending you
Yeah.
things that say, yes, you're
Yeah.
right, and it doesn't show you the other side of the coin.
Right.
I think all of that is really hurting our growth
Totally.
in humanity, and I think it's done on
Right.
purpose, but that's a
Oh yeah,
different
it's totally done on purpose.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I agree with you totally on that. But that is kind of like life too, right? Like there is like how you live your life is a mirror of what comes to you, right? I mean, if you live in that negative world, more
And
negative.
both ways, yeah.
So that is very true. All right. So what have we learned today? We've learned that if I'm ever going to be dating again, then I need to sit with the woman and say, okay, if you want to vent, you need to tell me that you're going to be venting. I need to be warned in advance, right?
Yeah,
And-
why not?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I think everyone needs something different in a relationship, you know? And it's also understanding that what you need can't be just dependent on the other person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like if I know I'm the kind of person that needs to be prepared for something, and no matter what situation I'm in, then voicing that, like the other person that's with me should be okay with that. Like I know Leo, for example, Leo doesn't love being around too many people. So I had a party on Saturday for my old race team, and I said, "Do you want to come with me?" And he said, "No, I don't think I want to be around that many people."
Huh?
I could say, "Oh, you know, whatever. Why won't you come with me? Like this is important to me. You should be supporting me." But like I already know that about him.
Okay.
So I happily got in the car and went and had a great time, and when I was done, I came home and everything is perfect.
So
Like
you knew that about him prior to getting married. So you knew,
oh
okay,
yeah.
that's part of the package of getting married to Leo. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a social butterfly, so I'm the other way around. Like I like being around people.
Right.
I also like being alone, but I do very well around people. So like making him feel bad
Yeah.
isn't going to change anything about anything.
Right.
But like if I already know that he's not always comfortable being around a bunch of people he doesn't know, like
Sure.
why should I make him feel bad about it? Like if I already know that,
Yeah.
why does he have to come with me? What does that actually prove? Like
Sure.
he doesn't prove he loves me more because he's not taking care of himself and doing something for me.
Right.
You know, so it's also like weigh out your battles, you know, like understand which battles are worth fighting and which ones are you
Sure.
just better
Yeah.
be
Very
left
true.
alone, you know?
Very true. What are you doing for New Year's, anything?
He's taking me on a fireworks cruise thing
Oh.
out in the water.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
really know exactly what it is.
Well, that'd be cool because very often when I've done this with our boat here in Long Island Sound, where you go out in the water and there's all the fireworks all around, so you get to see not just one but many. That's cool. Very cool.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. That's one of our things. Like, I plan a lot of things,
Right.
but when it comes to Christmas, New Year's, and our anniversary, which is the first, like, it's his time to plan. So I
Very cool.
plan the rest of the year, but
Very
when
cool.
I come here to spend it with him, he's got to make all
Oh,
the plans. Because
nice.
otherwise, I want to go out clubbing, I want to go out dancing, and I know that he doesn't love that. So since you're not gonna like my plans, you gotta make the plans.
Fair enough. And when's your anniversary? January 1st?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
married 1/1/2020.
oh,
So
very cool. Very
six
nice.
years.
Very cool. Very good. All right. Well, have fun. I'll be home in bed by 10 o'clock.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be going out at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm usually in bed by 10. So he even said to me yesterday, "How are you gonna stay up?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be on a boat, so I'm not gonna have a choice."
All right. So you have a fantastic New Year's.
You too. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone. Happy New Year's.
Everybody.